Hey guys, I'm Steven on PS4 and welcome to my YouTube channel. So a couple of days ago I did a attackers weapon guide, and today we're gonna do the defenders. So first of all, on smoke, most of the time I just use the shotgun. I rarely ever play the SMG, the FMG9, but I mean you can just take reflex and flash hider. That's pretty much it. Other than that, the SMG I play reflex, flash hider, and vertical grip. The FMG9, guys, there's not really much to it. It's pretty easy to shoot that weapon. I mean, there's nothing too complicated about that weapon. You just aim and you press the trigger, and it's gonna pretty much hit where you aim. That the weapon has zero recoil. So you're probably wondering why I choose the shotgun. It's just because it makes it a little bit more versatile playing smoke. I mean, say just this is bomb, yeah, and they want to plant right there. So normally you just go like this. You have an SMG11, you can chuck through the gas. And so it just makes it a little bit more versatile playing shotgun. However, on the SMG11, guys, I play reflex. The housing of the reticle optic is really small, so it's really nice to play the reflex on this weapon. And also I do not play laser sight when I use smoke, simply because I don't want to get seen easily when I'm doing the long range engagements. So that's pretty much why I don't use the laser while playing a smoke on the SMG11. If I do play sledge, I'll probably put on the laser sight because you're going to use that for close quarters exclusively. And then, other than that, I use the flash hider. It will give me a quick burst accuracy. I know a lot of players, they play compensator. Yes, you can. Compensator is really good. I haven't really tried that much, but I've seen people doing really well with compensator. Your spread full auto is going to be a lot more accurate. Like for example, that spread over there, as you can see on the wall, it's not really good over here from that range. So that's why people use compensator if they want to just full auto the weapon. Okay guys, so for the next operator is castle. I pretty much exclusively use the UMP after they nerfed the shotguns a couple of months ago, so I don't really use the shotgun that much when I do play castle. For the UMP I use holographic, muzzle brake, and vertical grip. Hey guys, UMP, yeah. As you can see the iron sight on the bottom of the holographic. You can see the little bit of the iron sight sticking out. When you're using the reflex or a red dot, it feels like it shows a lot more. So that's why I use the holographic, just to hide that iron optic a little bit better. And so yeah, it's gonna be really good to use holographic on the UMP. Muzzle brake, it just gives me that good tap firing on long ranges. And I mean, it's really hard to rapid fire or automatic fire this weapon based on putting on a compensator and benefiting from the compensator's recoil pattern. I mean, if you shoot automatic with this weapon, the recoil is still very good with muzzle brake, so you might as well just go with muzzle brake and get easy tap fires like that. I mean, so that's just basically why I use the muzzle brake. And vertical grip's just gonna help a lot better with that. The UMP is a SMG, so the aiming down sight is really good. You don't need the angle grip to make that better. If you wanna use pulse and play the UMP with angle grip, that's probably gonna make sense, because with pulse you're gonna sprint a lot and you need quick ADS when it comes to aiming down sight. So yeah, you can probably go for angle grip then. Other than that, you're gonna do very well by tap firing and vertical grip, holographic when using UMP. As you can see, that recoil pattern, tap firing is just that's amazing. So might as well just give this a try. Okay, so for our next operator is Duck. MP5 is pretty much the weapon I always play. ACOG, flash hider, vertical grip. On the P90 is reflex, flash hider, and laser sight. One thing that sucks is that they haven't given the P90 a compensator attachment. I do not know why they haven't done that, since the P90 is pretty much a full auto spray weapon, and I mean it's gonna make sense by putting a compensator on that weapon to compensate for the full auto recoil. But they haven't given it the compensator. They've given it a muzzle brake, which doesn't make sense on the P90 unless you play ACOG and muzzle brake and go for tap fires. But I mean, you want to use the full rate of fire when it comes to the P90. So yeah, I'm not going to review the P90. Just reflex, flash hider, laser sight. That's pretty much the basic thing you're going to need. When it comes to this weapon, the reason I choose not to use muzzle brake anymore is simply because you'll find yourself a lot using the MP5 almost in a full auto spray. Just because the recoil is so easy, you're gonna want to spray this weapon a lot. So that's why I use it like that. I mean, the flash hider is just gonna give you a little bit of a better burst firing and spray, you know, rapid fire spread. So that's for the reason I choose the flash hider. ACOG, guys, it's pretty much one of the weapons you want to play an ACOG on is the MP5. This weapon, its recoil is amazing. I'm gonna full auto spray and try my best just to. I mean, that's full auto spray. I mean, that's just extremely good. With an ACOG sight, you're gonna just absolutely destroy a head when you spray like that with an ACOG. So I mean, holographic, I've played holographic numerous times on this weapon. It's very good. Like say you're defending really tight, yeah, you're not peeking any long range engagements. So when it comes to close quarter, yeah, it's gonna be devastating for the enemy with holographic as well. So yeah, but I do prefer ACOG, flash hider, vertical. That's pretty much it, and you'll do just fine. Okay guys, for next operator, it's gonna be mute. And the MP5K is pretty much the only weapon I use on this operator. I mean, sometimes I play shotgun if I feel like I want to, but other than that, there's no really you know, attachment guide on a shotgun. Just slap on a laser sight and that's pretty much it. So for this mute weapon, MP5K, I am using the holographic sight and the muzzle brake. Okay guys, so that's a pretty simple weapon, yeah. I mean, holographic is just gonna give you nice pinpoint accuracy. When it comes to playing mute, you do not have the best weapon in the game, so going for a reflex is probably not the best in my opinion. I mean, it's not gonna make you worse or anything. It's just, I think when it comes to playing mute, you want to go for headshots only simply because of your low damage, and the holographic is the best way to actually just get those headshots. I mean, it's, you know, with the burst powering and the tap firing of a muzzle brake, you're just gonna get the best accuracy, muzzle brake and holographic. So tap fire this weapon, guys, you're gonna land very easy headshots. Do not undermine this weapon or underestimate this weapon. I know a lot of people do, but guys, this weapon is extremely good when you do manage to burst fire it properly, and just trusting the weapon's recoil to get you that headshot. So yeah, definitely just try out the holographic and muzzle brake. We're gonna take Frost next. On Frost, it's just reflex and angle grip. I'm not too sure if I'm gonna do it. It's basic. Just take a reflex and angle grip. That's pretty much it. I do not recommend what is that? The extended barrel. I'll tell you just now. On the MPX on Valkerie, guys, it's reflex, compensator, and vertical grip. The reason I took off the extended barrel on the Frost 9mm is simply because you don't really benefit from it that much. There's some video I watched on YouTube where they experimented with the extended barrel, and you only benefit from the extended barrel when you're shooting targets beyond 20 meters. So something like this, there, I would say. So beyond this distance, that's when you're gonna benefit from the extended barrel, and then you have to compensate for the higher recoil as well. So I don't really recommend extended barrel on any weapon. So let's get back to the MPX. The MPX, guys, it's a fast rate of fire weapon, low damage, so you want to put out as much rounds as you can when you shoot. This weapon's long range potential is probably not that good, simply because of the recoil that's sometimes a little bit odd, I would say. And I mean, you don't have any ACOG whatsoever. So yeah, I exclusively, if I play Valkerie, I'll sometimes go for long fire taps, yeah, but I mean that's really situational. Other than that, you want to use this weapon for extreme close quarter and just spray the full auto that you have and a good rate of fire you have, and then just use that to land your headshot when you can. Sort of something like that, you know. Just when you see someone in close quarter, just spray the weapon full auto. You have to compensate it to back you up with the better recoil pattern, and then you're probably gonna land your headshot anyways. So that's my setup for Valkerie, is reflex, compensator, and vertical grip. Okay, so for our next operator, It's Caveira. I don't think I'm gonna do her. On the M12, I'm using the reflex and the muzzle brake simply because it's a slow fire rate of weapon. So the muzzle brake is gonna help a lot with the tap firing. It's gonna make it extremely easy to control and land those headshots. Shotgun is just laser sight. That's pretty much it for Valkerie. Let's go to Echo, guys. Echo, I definitely prefer and recommend the ACOG when you play his primary, the MP5. I also recommend the vertical grip. This weapon's aiming down sight is quick because MP5 is a SMG, and as you can see, you don't need an angle grip when playing Echo. And also, you're not going to be sprinting a lot and aiming down sight and stuff like that when you play Echo. So you're not going to benefit from an angle grip at all. So how you play Echo normally is you hide, use your drone, and when you need to peek, you have enough time to aim down sight, and you have the vertical grip to back you up with nice recoil. And so yeah, Echo, guys. I mean, you can play holographic, you'll do just fine, yeah. But I mean, you have the bearing 9. That is an extremely good weapon for close quarter. I use reflex, compensator, and laser sight on this weapon. Just spray the weapon when someone is in close quarter, and you'll do just fine. Other than that, ACOG sight on this weapon is the best pick, I would say. I mean, this recoil is so easy to tap fire this weapon. So I mean, ACOG is gonna do beautiful. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, ACOG, guys, vertical grip, and you'll do just fine on the bearing 9. It's reflex, holographic, any one you prefer. I prefer the reflex on this weapon, and laser sight. I mean, definitely laser sight if you need to. If someone pushes you around the corner like an Ash, and you need to deal with her, you have the laser sight to back you up. Okay, guys, for next operator it's gonna be Mira. I do play Mira a lot recently, and I've experimented a lot with the Vector. I do not play the shotgun almost at all. So the Vector, guys, is a really good weapon. I use reflex, compensator, and vertical grip. Okay, guys, when it comes to choosing attachments for the Vector, you wanna take one thing into consideration, and that is the rate of fire. How often are you gonna benefit from a one tap on the Vector by using muzzle brake? Not that much, and even the one tap is so, you know, there's no recoil on the one tap. Burst fire, you're almost never gonna burst fire this weapon unless you play long range, which you will almost never do because you don't have an ACOG. But even with the compensator, guys, the burst fire, that's burst fire, and I'm using compensator. So I mean, the flash hider is not gonna benefit you at all when using this weapon. You can probably play it and just go for burst fire exclusively, but the real thing you want to do is when you see someone is you want to spray this weapon and use the rate of fire and the compensator you have. And I mean, that's full auto, so I mean that there, as you can see, it's a pretty good let me just, that there from that range at the back of the kids, it's a really good you know, recoil spread. So I mean that was compensator range, yeah. So I mean, it just shows you the compensator. You're gonna do just fine when it comes to you know, shooting long range as well. And with compensator, you're not gonna get a lot of side to side recoil. So in the category of horizontal accuracy, it's gonna be really good. As you can see, it just goes upwards and not really sideways. And that was full auto. So when you do quick burst, you're still gonna be really accurate with compensator. So just use compensator on this weapon, guys. You're gonna do very well with it, and then you can probably choose holographic or a reflex. I don't really think Riddle's gonna do that well on this weapon, since you won't be playing that aggressive, and you want to be as accurate as you can using this weapon. So the next one is the VSN on Kapkan, and the Shanka. I use reflex, flash hider, and vertical grip. Guys, you can probably switch between the flash hider and the muzzle brake simply because of the slow rate of fire on this weapon. I think it's 750 or something. And with Capcom, guys, when you use this weapon, this is probably one of the best weapons to do micro peek, or a pixel peek, as they would like to call it. I mean, when someone peeks this and you have this weapon, they're pretty much not gonna win this battle unless they get a really lucky pre-fire on you, which will almost never happen. You know, it's when you have this weapon, guys, it's just going to be the best way to play is pixel peek or micro peek when using this weapon. You don't really want to expose yourself too much using this weapon. This weapon, it does not have the best damage output. Even though I do know it has like a 34 damage or something, 32, which is not bad. But other than that, you want to do micro peek or pixel peek when you use this weapon, and go for the tap files using flash hider and muzzle brake. And also with this really nice reflex you have, you're going to be really accurate when using this weapon. So yeah, something like this. I mean, you're hardly ever going to lose your battles if you have a pretty decent aim. Okay, so for our next weapon, guys, it is Jager 416C carbine. Pretty much the best weapon in the game, also the most versatile weapon on the defense. I use reflex, compensator, and vertical grip. I honestly don't believe that there is any best setup for this weapon, because you can play this weapon in absolutely any way you want to. So I have to take into consideration the playstyle when choosing these attachments. There's no go-to attachment when it comes to this weapon or class. You want to take into consideration your playstyle. I do not play Jager that much anymore. If I had to play Jager a lot, I'll probably go for ACOG, because you develop a style where you know how to peek and where they're pushing from, stuff like that. So the fact is, I use reflex and compensator and vertical grip simply because that's pretty much the most versatile setup I believe you will have. I mean, if you have to deal with long targets, you can still tap fire on long range. This weapon is extremely good at it. And when someone has to push me, I have the reflex and the compensator that can back me up. And I mean, the compensator recoil is really good, except for my aim. Other than that, you won't have any trouble when using these attachments. I don't recommend the muzzle brake that much anymore, simply because when you play Jager and ACOG, you're gonna spray a lot. When doing that, I've noticed, even me myself and a lot of other players, they use muzzle brake and ACOG, and I actually recommend that on a lot of weapons. But when it comes to Jager, you sort of feel the pressure that the enemy attackers put on you, and that tends to make you spray a lot, being a little bit desperate to get that kill before they kill you. And so you won't even notice yourself spraying a lot when using muzzle brake, and then your recoil is just all over the place when it comes to side to side when using the muzzle brake and ACOG, and you don't really want that. So I recommend, if you play ACOG, just go for the flash hider and go for the quick burst when playing ACOG, and you're gonna get a nice recoil pattern as well. Even with compensator, I know some people play ACOG, but if I had to recommend, play ACOG and not muzzle brake, flash hider when you use it. I'm starting to get used to, as you can see, a little bit more now to the recoil again, because I do not really play Jager that much anymore. So yeah, if you want an all-round attachment, you know, for this weapon, and just feel like you're gonna do well at roaming, just go for the reflex, compensator, or holographic, yeah? And vertical grip. Reflex, compensator, and vertical grip. On Bandit, guys, it's sort of the same situation as it is on the 416 on Jager. I use red dot, flash hider, and a laser sight. The MP7 is also in some ways one of the most versatile weapons on the defense side. You can use an ACOG on this weapon and you can do extremely well. You can use a reflex, a holographic, and you will do extremely well. You can play a laser, or without one you will do extremely well. There's not really any best attachment on this weapon. It's all about the playstyle you're gonna go for while playing Bandit. If you roam a lot, I do prefer just go a holographic, reflex, or red dot. I do not roam really with Bandit when I play him a lot. And I know I recommend in my other video that I made previously to play an ACOG and a flash hider. That's really good, yes. I sort of just changed the playstyle, but I mean, I still recommend, if you play a ACOG, do not play muzzle brake. The horizontal recoil of the muzzle brake on the MP7 is extremely bad, and you can go test it. It's extremely bad, guys. You do not want to play muzzle brake on this high rate of fire weapon when when playing the MP7 or the muzzle brake, don't play muzzle brake. It's gonna mess your aim up a lot. You're not gonna tap fire this weapon. It's almost not possible to tap fire this weapon, simply because of this rate of fire. So do not use muzzle brake when using ACOG or red dot, or just leave the muzzle brake alone. However, I can recommend when you roam a lot and you do use the holographic and reflex, go for compensator maybe, since this recoil pattern is going to be really good on automatic fire. This is a flash hider compensator on automatic spread, so with compensator you're going to do a lot better, and having that reflex or holographic and also quick ADS, when roaming you're going to do quite some damage to the enemy team. So yeah, but what I'm using is laser sight in this weapon, simply because I'm gonna be on objective most of the time doing battery tricks and stuff like that. When someone pushes me, I do have this laser sight to back me up, and I'm not gonna really do long range peeking, so the laser sight's not gonna really throw away my position. Other than that, I go for quick peeks and just the spray with this weapon. It's the second best weapon based on damage output after Jager. I'm not too sure about Mira. I haven't done the test on that. Other than that, it comes second best after the 416 of Jager. So you definitely want to use this rate of fire by just spraying this weapon as fast as you can. Okay, so this was pretty much my defense recommendations and my weapon guides for the site. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up or subscribe, and thanks for watching.